chosen ones. Their camera keeps falling over. 3 times it crashed to the ground while they tried to set up their testimony against you. The universe itself refuses to let their lies stand steady anymore. Right now, someone who withheld critical information about your fortune, your inheritance, your rightful position in a company, is watching their entire fabricated reality collapse. The candle flame of their deception is flickering violently, about to be extinguished forever, and they know something massive is about to give. Let the bodies hit the floor. That song has been playing in the cosmic consciousness since dawn, and it's not about you falling anymore. It's about them. The ones who signed documents claiming you weren't suitable. The ones who testified that you couldn't handle the responsibility. The ones who deliberately painted you as unstable when shares were being distributed, when business opportunities were being allocated, when generational wealth was being divided. They're about to discover what happens when the universe catches you withholding information that would have given a chosen one their fortune. The information bomb that's about to detonate has been ticking for years. Every lie they told about your capabilities, every document they falsified about your readiness, every testimony they gave about your mental state when money was on the table, has created a paper trail that's now becoming their noose. Someone just found the first thread, and when they pulled it, the entire tapestry of deception began unraveling at supernatural speed. Picture this scene that's unfolding right now in offices you can't see, in meetings you weren't invited to, in investigations you didn't know were happening. Papers are scattered across mahogany desks, lawyers are pacing with files that have your name highlighted in yellow, accountants are recalculating numbers that don't add up, and at the center of it all, someone is sweating through their expensive shirt, realizing their elaborate scheme is collapsing faster than they can contain it. First, let me paint you the complete picture of what's happening in the spiritual courtroom right now. There's a person, someone who held sway in important circles, who made it their mission to ensure certain resources never reached your hands. This wasn't random. This was calculated, strategic, and deeply personal. They sat in meetings where your future was being discussed and deliberately painted a picture of you that was pure fiction. But here's what they didn't know. Every false word created an energetic debt that the universe has been calculating with compound interest. The passion they showed while lying about you was unstable from the start. Like a flame burning too hot, consuming its own oxygen, their deception required constant energy to maintain. They had to remember their lies, stay consistent with their story, convince others to believe their narrative. The exhaustion of maintaining this false reality is what's making everything topple now. The foundation was always weak because it was built on something that fundamentally opposes cosmic law, which is deliberately blocking a chosen one from their destiny. When decisions about shares were being made, when positions in companies were being distributed, when inheritances were being allocated, this person stood up and spoke with such conviction about why you weren't ready. They didn't whisper doubts, they proclaimed them. They created elaborate stories about your instability, your inability to handle pressure, your lack of readiness for financial responsibility. Every word was designed to redirect your fortune into their own pocket, or toward those they deemed more worthy. But here's the detail that's now haunting them. They didn't just speak against you once. They created a campaign, a systematic assassination of your character that required documentation. Forms were filled out, assessments were submitted, professional opinions were registered, and every single one of these documents they thought would bury you has become evidence in the case against them. The universe has a sense of irony that's absolutely ruthless when it comes to those who harm its chosen. The sadistic element is what sealed their fate. They didn't just want to take what was yours, they wanted to watch you struggle while knowing they held the keys. They got a twisted pleasure from seeing you work 3 times harder for a fraction of what should have been freely given. Every time you wondered why opportunity slipped through your fingers at the last moment, they were behind it smiling. They would actually celebrate your losses in private, toasting to their cleverness with wine purchased using dividends from shares that belonged to you. Second, the withholding of information has layers that are just now being discovered, and each layer reveals a deeper level of betrayal. We're not talking about simple omission. This was active suppression of documents, deliberate misrepresentation of your qualifications, and strategic manipulation of those in power. They knew about the shares you were entitled to. They knew about the business opportunity that had your name on it. They knew about the inheritance clause that specifically included you, but they buried it all under false testimony about your character. What's emerging now in the investigation is that they created false documents, not just withheld real ones, but actually fabricated evidence against you. Psychological evaluations that were never conducted, but were presented as fact. Financial assessments that showed instability where none existed. Character references from people who didn't exist or who never said what was attributed to them. The depth of this forgery is staggering, and it's all being uncovered by forensic document experts who are finding inconsistencies in dates, signatures, even the types of ink used. The spiritual authority they perverted, using psychological manipulation to paint you as unfit, is exactly what exposing them now. They portrayed themselves as concerned, caring, looking out for everyone's best interest, while secretly orchestrating your exclusion. They would stand before boards and committees with fake tears, expressing worry about what would happen if someone so unstable was given such responsibility. Meanwhile, they had already positioned themselves to receive what was meant for you. In the business realm, there were stocks and shares that belonged to you by right, not by favor, not by charity, but by legitimate legal right. Maybe through family connections, maybe through early involvement in a venture, maybe through intellectual property you contributed. But when distribution time came, suddenly there were concerns about your mental health, your emotional stability, and your capacity to manage such wealth. All fabricated, all strategic, all designed to redirect your fortune. The specific shares they stole weren't just any shares. These were founding shares in companies that have now become multinational corporations. The small startup you were part of in the beginning, the one they said you weren't stable enough to have equity in, is now worth billions. The family business where your percentage was redirected because of concerns about your judgment has expanded into an empire. The intellectual property rights they claimed you weren't responsible enough to manage have generated generational wealth that they've been living off while you struggled. The support system you actually had, the resources still available to you, meant nothing to them. They painted you as completely alone, totally unsupported, entirely unqualified. They made decision-makers believe you were drowning in your own instability, when in reality, you were swimming against a current they had created. The irony is that the very strength you developed fighting their invisible resistance is what qualified you for even greater wealth than what they stole. Third, here's where the dopamine hit of divine justice begins to cascade through your entire being. Someone in a position of legal authority has been investigating irregularities in how certain assets were distributed. They weren't even looking for crime initially, just trying to balance books that didn't quite add up. But what they found made them call in forensic accountants, legal teams, and investigative units. The withholding of information has left a trail that glows in the dark when you shine the right light on it. The investigator who found the first discrepancy is someone with a reputation for tenacity. They don't let things go. They follow paper trails to their conclusion. And when they discovered that your signature had been forged on documents waiving your rights to certain assets, they knew they had stumbled onto something massive. This wasn't just financial fraud. This was conspiracy, forgery, and theft on a scale that involves multiple jurisdictions and could result in decades of prison time. If this message resonates with your spirit and confirms what you've been sensing, hype this video so more chosen ones can discover their own vindication story unfolding. The law and order that's stepping in isn't just earthly justice. This is cosmic correction operating through human systems. The same legal structures this person manipulated to exclude you are now turning their full investigative power on them. Every document they signed, every testimony they gave, every meeting where they spoke against your interests is being reviewed, and the inconsistencies are glaring. Dates that don't match, stories that contradict each other, signatures that forensic experts confirm are forgeries. The police, the courts, the regulatory bodies are all converging on this situation because the fraud extends beyond just you. Once investigators started pulling the thread, they discovered this person had done this to multiple chosen ones, creating a pattern of spiritual and financial sabotage that spans years. The bodies hitting the floor aren't physical. They're the collapse of every lie, every false testimony, every fabricated concern that was used to keep divine inheritances from reaching their rightful owners. But here's what's making them really panic. The investigation has uncovered their secret accounts, the offshore holdings where they hid the profits from your shares, the shell companies they created to manage assets that belong to you, the complex financial structures they built to launder what was essentially stolen spiritual inheritance. Every account is being frozen, every asset is being traced, every transaction is being scrutinized. That passionate but unstable flame they carried while destroying your reputation is now consuming them. They can't keep their story straight anymore, because lies require perfect memory and constant energy to maintain. Under legal questioning, their narrative is crumbling. The same conviction they showed when lying about you has evaporated, replaced by stammering, sweating, and the kind of fear that comes when you realize the universe itself has turned against you. Fourth, the information now surfacing is staggering in its implications, and new revelations are emerging daily that expand the scope of what was stolen. We're not talking about small amounts that would have helped you pay bills. This is generational wealth, the kind of fortune that changes bloodlines, shares in companies that are now worth millions, percentages of businesses that have grown exponentially, positions that came with not just salary but equity, influence, and ongoing passive income. All of it was yours by right, and all of it was deliberately kept from you through calculated lies. The investigation has revealed that some of these assets have been generating passive income for decades. While you were struggling to make ends meet, working multiple jobs just to survive, the shares that belonged to you were producing quarterly dividends that this person was collecting. They've been living off your inheritance while watching you fight for scraps. The accumulated wealth from just the dividends alone, not even counting the appreciation of the assets themselves, amounts to millions. The collaboration and teamwork that should have been yours was redirected to others based on false testimony. Every project you should have been part of, every partnership that had your name on it before it was crossed out, every collaborative venture that would have established your empire, was sabotaged through deliberate misinformation. But here's the beautiful part. The universe kept receipts of every single theft. Every divine record shows what should have been yours, when it should have been given, and what it would be worth now. The person who did this had created their own empire on foundations that belonged to you. They've been collecting dividends from shares that were yours. They've been making decisions in positions that you should have occupied. They've been living off the interest of wealth that had your name written in the stars. But celestial accounting has come due, and the audit is ruthless. The spiritual forensics being conducted are revealing not just what was taken, but what was built on what was taken, and all of it is being marked for return. Documents are surfacing that prove your eligibility, your qualifications, your absolute right to everything that was withheld. Not new documents, but ones that existed all along, hidden in files, buried in archives, deliberately misfiled to prevent discovery. Each one that emerges adds another nail in the coffin of their deception. The paper trail they thought they had covered is illuminating like a constellation, pointing directly at their guilt. Some of these documents have their own notes in the margins, their handwriting discussing how to keep these papers from being discovered. Fifth, the corrupted spiritual authority they embodied is being exposed for what it truly is in the most public way possible. This is someone who perverted divine wisdom, who used psychological manipulation disguised as concern, who weaponized empathy to destroy rather than heal. They positioned themselves as wise counselors while being venomous serpents. The very people who trusted their judgment are now horrified to discover how that trust was abused. The unraveling of their false spiritual authority is happening in front of everyone who once respected them. Their fall from grace isn't private, it's public, documented and irreversible. Every person they fooled into believing their lies about you is now seeing the truth, and their anger at being manipulated is volcanic. These aren't just random people. These are influential individuals who don't like being played for fools. The governing bodies involved aren't just angry about being deceived. They're furious about being made complicit in cosmic injustice. These are people who pride themselves on fairness, who built careers on sound judgment, who have reputations for integrity. Discovering they were manipulated into participating in the sabotage of a chosen one's destiny has ignited a rage that burns with the heat of 1,000 suns. They're taking this personally because their professional honor has been compromised. The stress this person is experiencing now is beyond what they inflicted on you, multiplied by divine mathematics. While you struggled against invisible barriers, at least your conscience was clear. They are now struggling against visible consequences while carrying the weight of their crimes. The camera of divine justice keeps focusing on them, and every time they try to adjust their position, their lies become more obvious. The instability they projected onto you has become their permanent state. They're crying over spilled milk now, but it's milk they poisoned themselves. They're finally experiencing the isolation they manufactured for you, but without the divine support that sustained you through your trials. The support system behind them means nothing, because they've burned every bridge with their deception. The celebration they stole from you has turned into bitter consequences. They must drink alone, and the taste is destroying them from the inside out. Sixth, the speed at which this vindication is moving defies natural explanation and continues to accelerate every day. What should take years in court is happening in months. What should require lengthy investigations is being revealed in weeks. The universe has pressed fast forward on justice because your season of waiting has been long enough. Every delay you experienced is being compensated by acceleration in your favor now. But it's not just speed. It's the thoroughness of the vindication that's supernatural. Every stone is being turned. Every document is being examined. Every testimony is being verified. Nothing is being left to chance or interpretation. The universe is ensuring that this vindication is so complete, so thorough, so undeniable that there will never be any question about your worthiness or their guilt. The patient cultivation they interrupted is bearing fruit at supernatural speed. The seeds you planted while fighting against their sabotage have been growing in the spiritual realm, and now they're manifesting in the physical with compound interest. Every effort you made despite the opposition, every step forward you took while carrying invisible weights, every achievement you managed despite the rigged game has been multiplied exponentially. The settlement coming your way isn't just restoration. When the universe catches someone stealing from a chosen one, the payback includes punitive damages that reflect the spiritual crime, not just the material theft. The independence and luxury they tried to prevent you from achieving is arriving with additions that account for the years of struggle, the emotional toll, the opportunities lost, and the compound growth that would have occurred. But here's what they didn't calculate. The spiritual interest rate on stolen destiny is exponential, not linear. Every year they kept you from your inheritance hasn't just added a year's worth of value. It multiplied the value exponentially because of what you would have built, created, and generated with those resources. The universe is calculating not just what was taken, but what could have been created with what was taken. The traditional structures and established systems they manipulated against you are being reformed with you as the template. New policies are being written to prevent this from happening to others. New safeguards are being implemented to protect chosen ones from similar sabotage. Your case is becoming the precedent that protects future generations from this kind of spiritual and financial warfare. Seventh, the world is watching this unfold with amazement, and the ripple effects are reaching places and people you don't even know about yet. The image they tried to project onto you, that picture of you being unable to handle wealth properly, has been exposed as pure projection. They were the ones hoarding what wasn't theirs. They were the ones who couldn't handle wealth without corruption. They were the ones whose relationship with money was toxic and destructive. International attention is being drawn to this case because of its implications for spiritual justice manifesting in legal systems. Lawyers from different countries are studying the precedents being set. Financial regulators are implementing new protocols based on what's being discovered. The exposure of this one person's crimes is creating a worldwide shift in how spiritual inheritance is protected legally. When they withheld resources meant for your work, they created a reversal of divine flow that's now being corrected with overwhelming force. All the tools that should have been in your hands, all the resources that would have allowed you to manifest your mission, All the connections that would have accelerated your purpose are being restored. But not just restored to their original state, they're arriving upgraded, enhanced and protected from future interference. The conflict and confrontation that's emerging isn't your battle to fight anymore. The universe is handling this directly. The arguments happening in boardrooms, courtrooms and private offices are between those who were deceived and the one who deceived them. You don't have to defend yourself because the evidence speaks louder than any testimony you could give. The truth has its own voice, and it's screaming their guilt. Mental health, the weapon they used against you most viciously, has become the sword that's cutting them down. The psychological evaluations they demanded for you are now being required for them. The stability they questioned in you is now being investigated in them. The emotional regulation they claimed you lacked is clearly absent in them as they crumble under pressure. Professional psychiatrists are now questioning how someone could fabricate such elaborate lies about another person's mental state while clearly suffering from severe psychological issues themselves. Eighth, the executive energy that rightfully belongs to you is manifesting with undeniable authority and attracting opportunities from unexpected sources. The business acumen they claimed you didn't possess is being revealed through the success you achieved despite their sabotage. The financial wisdom they said you lacked is evident in how you managed with crumbs while they squandered feasts. The leadership capability they testified against is proven by how you've navigated this injustice with dignity. Major corporations are now interested in partnering with you, not despite this situation but because of it. They see someone who maintained integrity under pressure, who succeeded despite sabotage, who kept faith despite injustice. These are the qualities they want in leadership positions. The very trial they created to destroy you has become your qualification for opportunities beyond what they stole. The past that's being excavated reveals pattern after pattern of their deception, dating back further than anyone initially realized. This wasn't a one-time crime of opportunity. This was systematic, calculated and repeated. Other chosen ones are coming forward with similar stories. Other fortunes withheld, other inheritances redirected, other opportunities sabotaged using the same methods. The scope of this spiritual crime syndicate is staggering. The perverted nurturing energy they embodied, turning care into something toxic and destructive, is being exposed in all its ugliness. They positioned themselves as caretakers while being thieves. They pretended to protect while actively destroying. They wore masks of concern while harboring hearts of greed. The unmasking happening now is so complete that they'll never be able to hide behind false personas again. The stock shares that are being investigated have grown exponentially since they were withheld from you. What might have been thousands when first stolen are now worth millions. The compound interest on theft from a chosen one includes not just financial growth, but spiritual penalties that multiply exponentially. The universe doesn't just return what was taken, it returns what should have been, could have been, and would have been if divine will hadn't been interrupted. Ninth, their excessive caution about not taking risks with you has been revealed as calculated sabotage rather than genuine concern. Every time they advised against giving you opportunities, every time they counseled patience instead of action, every time they suggested waiting instead of moving forward, it was designed to keep you from your destiny while they positioned themselves to receive it. The pattern of their obstruction is so clear now that investigators are finding evidence in places no one thought to look. Email servers thought to be wiped clean are being recovered. Deleted files are being restored. Conversations thought to be private are being revealed. The digital footprint of their deception is more extensive than they ever imagined possible. Every device they use to coordinate this theft has become evidence against them. Being stuck in their own lies has become their permanent residence. They can't move forward because the past keeps pulling them back. They can't escape because every exit is blocked by another exposed lie. They can't find peace because the chaos they created for you has become their constant companion. The river of consequences is flowing fast, and they're drowning in waters they poisoned. The community that's rallying around you now includes people you never knew were watching. Silent witnesses who suspected something was wrong but didn't have proof. Quiet supporters who felt the injustice but couldn't articulate it. Hidden allies who were waiting for the right moment to speak. They're all emerging now with testimonies, evidence, and resources to ensure your complete vindication. Influential people who had no idea this was happening to you are now personally invested in your restoration. They're embarrassed that this happened in systems they're part of. They're angry that their names are associated with companies or organizations that allowed this injustice. They're motivated to not just make it right, but to make it spectacular. Your restoration has become a matter of their personal honor. The dream of new beginnings that seemed so distant is manifesting at lightning speed. The highest level of divine recording and justice has been documenting everything from the beginning. Every tear you shed was recorded. Every prayer you prayed was heard. Every moment you chose faith over bitterness was noted. The cosmic record is being balanced, and the payment includes interest that reflects divine mathematics, not human calculation. 10th, the wheel of fortune has turned so decisively that those who were at the top through deception are now at the bottom facing justice. The 10-year cycle, the decade of injustice, the season of sabotage is complete. The wheel doesn't just turn gradually. When divine timing activates, it spins with such force that positions change instantly. Those who were last become first, and those who stole first place find themselves in spiritual bankruptcy. The unexpected opportunities arriving for you now make what was stolen look like pocket change. The universe doesn't just restore what was taken, it upgrades everything based on what you learned while fighting through injustice. The businesses being offered to you now are bigger than what was withheld. The positions opening for you carry more authority than what was denied. The wealth flowing toward you exceeds what was stolen by orders of magnitude. New industries are opening doors for you. Technologies that didn't exist when your inheritance was stolen are now creating opportunities worth hundreds of times what was originally withheld. The delay wasn't denial. It was divine setup for multiplication that wouldn't have been possible in the original time frame. What the enemy meant for evil, the universe has transformed into exponential good. The leap of faith you took by continuing forward despite invisible opposition has positioned you for rewards that those who sabotaged you couldn't imagine. They thought small, stealing earthly treasures while activating cosmic consequences. They focused on material wealth while igniting spiritual warfare. They were never equipped to win. They played checkers while the universe set up a chessboard where you were always destined to declare checkmate. The birth of your new enterprise isn't happening in the shadow of what was stolen. It's emerging in the light of divine vindication, carrying the authority that comes from overcoming injustice. This isn't just business success, it's cosmic coronation. The empire they prevented you from building earlier has become a kingdom that extends beyond what they tried to steal. 11th, the dealing with a man of dark complexion or dark hair who brings news is symbolic of the shadow work being completed. The darkness they tried to impose on your life is being returned to sender with interest. The shadows they cast over your reputation are being replaced by spotlight illumination of your true character. The dark night of the soul they extended through their sabotage has become the dawn of your dominion. This messenger figure represents multiple people: lawyers bringing news of settlements, investigators bringing evidence of fraud, business partners bringing offers of collaboration. Each one carries a piece of your restoration, and they're all arriving in rapid succession. The universe has deployed an army of human agents to facilitate your vindication, and they're all moving with supernatural synchronicity. The parting of ways happening now isn't just between you and those who wronged you. It's between the old paradigm where chosen ones could be sabotaged and the new reality where divine protection prevents such interference. The relationship structures, business partnerships, and financial systems that allowed this injustice are being revolutionized. Your case is the catalyst for systematic change that protects spiritual warriors from financial warfare. The highly thought-of position you're about to occupy isn't just restoration of reputation, it's elevation to heights that reflect your true spiritual stature. The period of ill health and depression they tried to manufacture for you has become the testimony that inspires millions. The beetle of good fortune isn't landing on you temporarily. It's taking permanent residence in your energy field. The friend offering advice represents the collective wisdom of everyone who sees your vindication and wants to ensure your position for maximum benefit. Lawyers working pro bono because they're inspired by your story. Financial advisors offer services because they want to be part of divine justice. Business partners approach opportunities because they recognize the favor in your life. The universe is mobilizing resources through human vessels who are honored to participate in your restoration. 12th, time to act has arrived with such urgency that hesitation isn't possible. The careful approach they counseled when it benefited them has been replaced by rapid movement that benefits you. Every door that was locked is being kicked open. Every vault that held your resources is being emptied in your favor. Every account that should have had your name is being transferred with interest that reflects divine multiplication. The reversal of the be careful, don't take risks energy means supernatural acceleration of everything that was delayed. The caution they preached while stealing your opportunities has transformed into bold action in your favor. The universe isn't tiptoeing around justice anymore. It's marching with the force of inevitability toward your complete vindication and their total exposure. The success beneath everything confirms what was always true. You were always worthy. You were always qualified. You were always destined for the fortune they tried to steal. The only variable was timing, and that timer has now expired. The alarm is sounding, and it's not calling you to wake up. You've been awake, fighting, persevering. It's calling them to face the consequences of trying to steal from heaven's chosen. Look, you already know the attacks weren't random, and if you're paying attention, you can feel it. Their walls are closing in. So let's talk about what we're doing about it. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve cooperative intelligence. The beauty is you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and your subconscious is rewired while your enemies collapse under the weight of their own lies. This is why I created it in the beginning, so everything they did to break you becomes fuel for your purpose. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. As we complete this circle of revelation, return to that image of the falling camera, the unstable flame, the bodies hitting the floor. But see it clearly now. They're not metaphors for your struggle anymore. They're the reality of those who tried to play God with your destiny. Their testimony is falling apart like a camera that can't stay upright. Their passion has become unstable, consuming them like a flame burning its own vessel. Their empires built on stolen foundations are the bodies hitting the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the lies hit the floor. Let the false testimonies hit the floor. Let the fabricated concerns hit the floor. Let the withheld information hit the floor. And from that floor, watch your fortune rise like a phoenix from ashes they thought were permanent. The information they withheld about your shares, your inheritance, your business opportunities, your rightful position, has been discovered, documented, and is being delivered to authorities who have the power to not just restore, but multiply what was stolen. The fortune that was kept from you through deliberate withholding of information isn't returning as a trickle, it's arriving as a tsunami that will wash away every remnant of the injustice you experienced. The compound interest calculated by divine mathematics includes not just financial multiplication, but spiritual authority, social vindication, and generational establishment that extends beyond anything they tried to steal. Chosen one, the withholding season is over, the information has surfaced, the fortune is being transferred, and those who thought they could profit from blocking your blessings are learning that the universe keeps meticulous records. Every document they hid is being found, every lie they told is being exposed, every penny they stole is being reclaimed with interest, every opportunity they blocked is being restored with multiplication. Your fortune was never truly lost, it was being held in cosmic escrow, gathering compound interest, waiting for the perfect moment of revelation. That moment has arrived with the force of divine timing, and nothing can stop the transfer of wealth, authority, and influence that's already been decreed in the spiritual realm. The information they withheld has become the very evidence that ensures your complete vindication and their permanent downfall. The camera has stopped falling. The flame has been stabilized. The bodies have hit the floor, and you're still standing, not just as a survivor, but as the rightful heir to everything they tried to steal and more. The fortune they withheld was just the beginning. What's coming now is the full inheritance of a chosen one, whose faith remained unshaken despite facing the deepest betrayal. Your vindication isn't just personal, it's cosmic, and it's happening now.